This is a weekly series where I can explore topics that don't warrant a full video in a laid-back, shorter format. I don't usually cover this topic in my videos, but I know a lot of people think about it. The reason I don't cover it is that it's anticlimactic, at least at this point. I'm an analyst in my day job, and I'll use that reasoning here. Can Star Citizen still fail? Yes, but probably not how you think. First, I'm sorry to kill the doomer fantasy because I know a lot of people in the refund subreddit. Imagine a world where CIG runs out of money tomorrow. It's the hater's dream where the servers go dark, the studio closes, and they can say they predicted this for 14 years now. Well, that's not happening. Full stop. Sorry. I'm not saying that as a fanboy or a backer. None of the numbers or current financial climate support it, especially for a company that isn't carrying a load of debt. As of the 2024 financial disclosure, there's a £10 million loan on the books, drawn in March of last year from an existing shareholder, which I'm reading is almost certainly the Calders. They're the same family that's owned a stake in CIG since late 2018, and if the filings read right, it wouldn't even be the first time they floated the company money. The 2023 report referenced shareholder financing too, back when CIG had a year when they spent a lot more than they made. I'm guessing that Calders aren't going to shake CIG down over the loan. They essentially are the company at this point. Weakening CIG's financials weakens their own holdings. This was a shock to me when I saw it earlier this month, but Star Citizen is on pace to make roughly $180 million in 2026 in total gross revenue per the funding tracker. Revenue's up almost 40% year over year compared to this same time last year. And that's even with the disaster of 4.8. I wouldn't have bet on that myself. It's mind-blowing. 10 million versus that number puts into perspective just how small their risk is. Beyond this, CIG has no third-party debts and no publisher advances. Studios use debt to fund their development. Until a game is released or goes to early access, every cost is additional debt spending. Take-Two is funding GTA 6 at an estimated $2 billion with marketing costs, but even if that's company cash and not loans, that money needs earned back before it becomes a dime of profit. That's not how CIG operates with backer funding. There's no repayable costs at all. And that's the most important factor here. Companies get into trouble when they heavily leverage outside debt through bank loans because banks have serious enforcement power when it comes to collecting outstanding debt, up to and including liquidation. I won't pretend to know the UK's laws, but I'd be shocked if it's not that way as well. And of course, the CIG could fail tomorrow argument doesn't include Squadron 42 into the calculations at all. For it to work, they have to assume that no one will buy a copy that hasn't already or that it'll be a colossal flop. Whenever that comes out, be it this year or next, its development is already paid for. Every copy sold is basically profit immediately. CIG also doesn't split revenue like a traditional game has to. Even GTA 6 takes a 30% revenue hit from Microsoft, Sony, and eventually, when it comes out on PC, Steam. So for the game to die, you need everyone to stop buying ships, which is unlikely as every patch gets them closer to an eventual release. But the data shows that ship buying is actually accelerating. Well, shit. Then you're left hoping for massive fraud. Ashes of the Creation never had to open the books, so the alleged fraud that killed the studio was hidden from everyone. UK's disclosure laws mean that CIG does. So all that's left is delusional hope from people that want it to be true to justify 13 years of hatred. And let's assume a world where CIG really is in financial trouble. Star Citizen has something extraordinary. We have a massive, loyal, paying customer base for a product that isn't even finished. Most startups fail before they can even bring a product to the market, but Star Citizen already has a product and buyers. In that scenario, there's a real world where private equity comes for CIG. That's the problem for the rest of us. They'd have done their due diligence, meaning they know what's getting cut and how much legal risk, if any, they'd be exposed to by doing so. And I can promise you, if you don't like Star Citizen's monetization model now, I'm sure you'd like it much less if a capital fund calls the shots. I might be a backer, but I'm also a realist. Star Citizen can absolutely fail, just not right now. The real danger is that after Star Citizen moves to whatever they're going to call a 1.0 state, then it goes the way of pretty much every live service game that's launching now. There's usually a massive initial spike of players, and then the hemorrhaging starts. Very few games have bucked this trend. Arc Raiders might be sliding into its irrelevant phase before our eyes, and while New World did the version where the game technically survives on life support for a few years, it was doing so in complete irrelevance, and then it finally got the plug pulled. I used to play New World with some work friends, but we all quit eventually, so I guess we didn't help keep the lights on there either. That's what failure looks like for Star Citizen. All of our funding creates a world that ultimately appeals to few people. I don't think that's what's going to happen, but it absolutely can. If anything can kill Star Citizen, it won't be hate. Apathy has the best chance. See you in the verse.